Hello and welcome. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Tonight, President Buhari directs Central Bank of Nigeria to stop providing foreign exchange for the importation of food, says the country has achieved food security. Leader of the proscribed Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky and his wife arrive in India to begin their medical treatment. Presidential task team completes decongestion of Apapa Road in Lagos to implement electronic call system for trucks as solution to gridlock. And activities at the Hong Kong International Airport remain at a standstill for a second day as anti-government protesters continue their occupation of the facility.
On Business News tonight, Corporate Affairs Commission registered over 220,000 micro, small and medium enterprises in less than a year.
And on Sports News tonight, champions the Tigers qualify for the quarterfinals of the 2019 FIBA Women Afro-Basket after an emphatic victory over Cameroon.
And from Abuja, residents of the nation's capital spend final day of Eid al-Kabir holidays with friends and family at leisure spots.
The attainment of food security and improvement in agricultural production is still very paramount to the president, and that's why he has instructed the Central Bank of Nigeria to stop providing foreign exchange for the importation of food into the country. President Muhammadu Buhari believes that with the current improvement in agricultural production, his action will encourage food sufficiency in the country. He mentioned this today after hosting some governors from the All Progressive Congress to lunch at his country home in Dara, Katsina State. He says the foreign reserve will be conserved and used strictly for the diversification of the economy and not for encouraging more dependence on foreign food imports. The president says, and I quote, "Don't give a cent to anybody to import food into the country. We have achieved food security. And for physical security, we're not doing badly." States like Kebbi, Ogun, Lagos, Jigawa, Ebonyi and Kano had already taken advantage of the federal government's policy on agriculture with huge returns in rice farming. End of quote. The president is also encouraging more states to plug into the ongoing revolution to feed the nation. On matters concerning the youth, the president says he is delighted that young Nigerians, including graduates, had started exploring agribusiness, with many posting testimonies of good returns on their investments. He explains that the incoming ministers will be taught and thoroughly guided to ensure they meet the targets of the APC-led government for the people, with regular monitoring of their performances and scaling up of targets by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. The governors who met with the president are from Lagos, Ekiti, Kebbi, Kaduna, Edo, Osun, Nasarawa and Katsina State. For those who may be assuming or have assumed that there's been a rift between the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Mr. Adams Oshomole, and the governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, there are clear indications now that such assumptions may be false, as the APC national chairman has cleared the air on the perceived rift which broke out in the wake of the crisis rocking the State House of Assembly. Mr. Oshomole, who was speaking after a meeting with Governor Obaseki and other leaders of the party at his residence in Esako West local government area of Edo State, said that most of the stories circulating are baseless. On his part, Governor Obaseki said nothing is unusual about having a meeting with his predecessor. Governor Obaseki had recently lashed out at those he described as godfathers, explaining why they are after him, noting that they are against his positive transformation in the state.
I see the canyon. Be careful, be careful. What I see the canyon. No, you tell me now. I'm confused there.
What is the outcome of this meeting?
The problem is yours. What makes this visit unusual? If you have any memory with your cameras, you know that every now and then, from time to time, we have always been meeting. So why will you say it's unusual?
So what do you say about this speculation?
So people like you that are speculating. Even now you are speculating. What is unusual that my brother and I have met, and many people I work with, there is no new face here. And yet for you it's unusual.
Okay. What's the...
Okay.
Tell us about the meeting.
You heard from him. There's nothing unusual about this meeting. We just finished celebrating the former national chairman in Benin, and we decided to come here and also visit with him. So there's nothing unusual.
So
We're celebrating our leaders.
What are your words to those who think you have been having
That they should stop thinking.
Business of taking and stop. I think you'll be there too. You like to invent. You know, you like to invent things. When I hear you create factions in your own image, you service those factions in your own image. And it's unfortunate.
Yes, Comrade, would like you to assess the...
No. No assessment.
The leader of the proscribed Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, and his wife Zinat are spending their first night at the Mendata Hospital in New Delhi, India, where they are currently receiving medical treatment. Meanwhile, Channel Television has received a video showing Mr. El-Zakzaky and his wife being conveyed to hospital in an ambulance and being attended to by doctors.
Our driving system
The couple left Abuja Monday night and made a stopover in Dubai before taking another flight to New Delhi. They are accompanied by officials of the Kaduna State Government and personnel of the Department of State Services, DSS. The medical trip follows the order of the Kaduna State High Court, which granted the Sheikh and his wife permission to travel abroad for medical treatment after they had been in custody since 2015. The court also said the IMN leader must return immediately after treatment to face his charges. He's facing charges of homicide, unlawful assembly, disruption of public peace, and other offences which he has pleaded not guilty to. Now let's turn our attention to aviation security now. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, is alerting all airlines operating in the country to exercise a high level of vigilance following the outbreak of the Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The NCAA spokesperson says the agency has directed all airlines pilots in the command of the aircraft to report any suspected cases to the air traffic control. The agency also says it expects strict compliance on the part of airline operators in Nigeria and would work with relevant authorities to prevent the incursion of any communicable diseases, including Ebola, into the country. The recent outbreak of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo has continued in Kivu and Ituri provinces, which, according to the World Health Organization, is now documented at 86 Ebola cases a week. Cases of the Ebola virus disease was reported in 2014 but was immediately contained. And staying with security-related matters, some TIF students in the Federal University Buhari in Taraba State are asking the federal and state governments to thoroughly investigate the killings of two of their colleagues and a non-teaching staff of the university by gunmen. The students, who staged a peaceful march along the Zaki-Biam-Buhari Federal Expressway, are also demanding the prosecution of the killers as well as the restoration of peace to their community.
These are TIF students from the Federal University of Buhari on a peaceful march to demand justice for their colleagues who were killed. The late students Frank Ayatse, Nsute Vihio, and the non-teaching staff of the Federal University of Buhari were allegedly killed by suspected Jukun militia a fortnight ago.
We want the federal government to call on the management of the Federal University of Buhari to investigate that, know the cause of the killings, know why our students were killed.
A younger brother to one of the students who was killed, in company of the Ukum local government chairman, leads Channels Television to the local morgue, where he narrates what happened, as the chairman demands for a thorough investigation into the killings.
This fateful day that this thing happened, we called his number, somebody different answered, and the person spoke in Hausa. The accent, the intonation was a Juku intonation. So the person told us that my brother Sutevihio was killed and dropped at Kaswan Shannon. He was slaughtered.
2 students of the Federal University of Kari were killed by the Jukun militias and then are taken into the bush.
The federal highway is deserted, with few vehicles plying the road, as attacks are still being reported. But the police division here is unwilling to respond to the matter, just as the command spokespersons declined comments on the grounds that the incident happened outside its jurisdiction. However, the TIV Youth Council says it will not accept any excuses on the killing of fellow indigents, pointing out that well-thought-out attacks are backed by some powerful persons in Taraba State.
The recent rape, maiming and killing of hapless students of the Federal University Okari is indeed one too many, deserving thorough investigation by the security agencies and enduring solutions to entrench peace.
In the meantime, the students are rejecting Wednesday's resumption date set by the institution on the grounds that the cause of the insecurity in Wukari is yet to be addressed, from the lingering border crisis between the Jukun and Tivs in Benue and Taraba states.
The Chief of Air Staff is warning individuals or groups who think they can undermine the territorial integrity of Nigeria to desist from such acts or face the consequences. The Air Chief, Sadiq Abubakar, mentioned this while commemorating this year's Eid el-Kabir celebration with officers of the Air Task Force Command in Yola, the Adamawa state capital. He told them that progress has been made in the fight against insurgency and banditry. On his part, the state governor, Umaru Fintiri, commended the efforts of the Air Force and other security agencies for the good job they've done and they're doing in several communities in the country. The presidential tax team on Apapa has asked other stakeholders like the Lagos State Government, the Nigeria Port Authority, the Shippers Council and other agencies to own the processes and gains achieved in Apapa. The team leader, Mr. Kayode Opefa, who was speaking during the stakeholders meeting with Apapa residents, goes on to say that they have achieved most of their charge on the terms of reference issued by the president. Our correspondent, Olu Phillips, has this report.
For several days, months and years, this is the scenario that many residents and Lagosians had to grapple with in Apapa area. By May of this year, the president had had enough of the Apapa gridlock. He issued a 72-hour directive to all trucks to vacate the port access area. He set up a tax team, outlined some terms of reference to effectively consolidate on the operations. 3 months after, this is Apapa for you. To bring Apapa residents and other stakeholders up to speed with the job done so far, this meeting has been convened by the tax team.
Don't fail to harass us. Don't fail to call on us.
Those achievements have also thrown up other concerns.
You see those boys breaking those ammo cables. What did they do? They took it down there, under the bridge, they burnt it and sell it. Watch the ballistas, those aluminiums. Those same boys again, we know them. The police are there, the navies are there. They collect little tips.
I trust and I believe that you said you will leave one lane for us. Civilized nations subsidize transport. The governor of Lagos said should please give us buses that will power this road on subsidized rates.
These roads are not as wide as from Maitu. Maitu to Think Island, we have 6 lanes there. Here just only 2 lanes. By the time the lane is occupied by the truckers, why you leave for one lane for other road users now? Once the vehicle breaks down, we find it difficult now to even turn around to get that vehicle out. That's why they have 2 trucks.
The terms of reference of the tax team reads in part, the development of an effective manual truck call-up system pending the introduction of the electronic truck call-up system.
The issue of the roadworthiness of these trucks, yes, I agree with you. But if you were to be in our stakeholders meeting when we started, that was when I pointed my leg. I said, we have an MOU with MPA. Then how do we go about it? Chairman said, let us get to the stage where we have been able to push these trucks to the park. Then from the park, we can now be stringent in who goes out and who does not go out. And let us also balance this issue. If you also come out and say, for every truck that does not meet up with your minimum safety standard, that they will not go there, you will create another national crisis.
That seemed to be the next line of action.
Lagos state government is to take over traffic management. Last mile is to move in full force. All the underbridges are to be managed and make sure nobody gives it out. Local government should not give it out for anybody to do kappa.
The job is far from being done, following some of the challenges that have emanated from the long years of neglect. Those issues will be brought to fore in the days ahead.
In part two, after the break, 3 persons killed and several others injured allegedly by soldiers in Isheri Olofi community in the Kara area of Ogun State. Stay with us.